Billy Chemirmir, the Kenyan serial killer who terrorized Texas. Between 2016 and 2018, the quiet suburbs of North Texas were haunted by a pattern too strange to ignore. Dozens of elderly women dying in what appeared to be a peaceful slumber. No signs of forced entry, no signs of struggle. Their families mourned, believing their loved ones passed away naturally. But behind these silent deaths was a man who had woven himself into the fabric of their trust. His name was Billy Chemirmir, a seemingly ordinary healthcare worker with a dark secret. He was stalking, smothering, and robbing elderly women across Dallas County. He didn't use a gun. He didn't use a knife. His weapon was a pillow, and his mask was compassion. This is the story of how a man born in quiet town in Kenya came to be one of America's most prolific serial killers. Early life in Kenya. Billy Chemirmir was born on December 8, 1972, in Eldama Ravine, a small serene town nestled in Baringo County, Kenya. Growing up in a region known for its natural beauty and simplicity, Chemirmir was the son of a respectful local figure, and by most accounts, his childhood didn't reveal any early signs of violent tendencies. By the late 1990s or early 2000s, like many seeking better opportunities abroad, Chemirmir immigrated to the United States. He settled in Texas, a place that would eventually become both his hunting ground and his prison. He later became a naturalized U.S. citizen and sought employment in elder care and home health services, industries where empathy and trust are crucial. But it wasn't long before that trust was turned into a weapon. Chemirmir worked as a caregiver and health aide, taking on roles that gave himself access to vulnerable individuals. Early clients, many of whom lived alone, welcomed him into their homes, believing he was there to help them. But under the surface, Chemirmir began targeting his clients, not with care, but with calculated coldness. He reportedly posed not only as a nurse, but sometimes as a maintenance worker or medical professional, gaining easy access to senior citizens or senior living communities in affluent neighborhoods like Plano, Dallas, and Richardson. He was a quiet, polite, and often described as gentle, the perfect cover for a predator. What made Chemirmir especially dangerous was his understanding of routine. He knew when his victims were alone, when their families were away, and exactly how to avoid suspicion. Between 2016 and 2018, elderly women began dying under eerily similar circumstances. Most were found in their beds or recliners, with no signs of trauma. Police and medical examiners initially ruled the deaths as natural strokes, heart failure, or simply the effects of old age. But there was a pattern hiding in a plain sight. Jewelry and valuables were missing, expensive wedding rings, necklaces, and cash all gone, and no one could explain why. In retrospect, Chemirmir's method was chillingly simple. He would force entry or talk his way in, smother the victim with a pillow until they stopped breathing, then ransack the home for valuables. With no signs of struggle or robbery, the death looked peaceful. Authorities later linked him to at least 22 women who died in this manner, though some believe the true number could be higher. Everything changed on March 18, 2018. A 91-year-old woman living in Frisco survived an attack that mirrored the others. She told police that a man had forced his way into her home. knocked her to the floor, attempted to smother her with a pillow, and then stole her jewelry. Unlike the others, she lived to tell the tale. Her detailed description of the attacker helped police track down Billy Chemirmir. Just 2 days later, he was found throwing away a jewelry box in a dumpster inside his car and apartment. Police found more jewelry, cash, and identification cards of women who had recently died under suspicious circumstances. One item stood out, a key to the home of Luthi Harris, an 81-year-old woman who had been found murdered just hours earlier. His death was now linked directly to Chemirmir. On March 20th, 2018, Chemirmir was arrested for the murder of Luthi Harris. But as investigators began digging, they made a horrifying discovery. Chemirmir had a list, handwritten names and addresses of elderly women across Dallas County, many of them of whom were already dead. Over time, the police pieced together the full picture. Chemirmir wasn't just a thief or an opportunist. He was a methodical killer who used his assets and charm to smother his victims and rob them without detection. By 2020, Chemirmir had been indicated in 18 separate murder cases, later increased to 22. Families were devastated. Many had buried their loved ones without suspicion. Now they were learning their mothers and grandmothers had been murdered and no one had noticed. Billy Chemirmir's trial began in 2021, delayed by the COVID-19 pandemic and the volume of evidence. In court, prosecutors presented jury surveillance footage and eyewitnesses' accounts. They painted a clear picture of a man who viewed elderly women as early targets. In October 2022, he was convicted of a capital murder in the case of Luthi Harris and sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. A second conviction followed in the murder of 87-year-old Mary Brooks. The other charges remained pending at the time of his death. Despite the overwhelming evidence, Chemirmir remained emotionless during proceedings, showing no remorse or acknowledgement of the devastation he caused. On September 19, 2023, a shocking headline emerged: Billy Chemirmir. He was found dead in his prison cell at the Caulfield Unit in Tennessee Colony, Texas. He had been beaten to death by his cellmate, another man serving a sentence for murder. Chemirmir's violent end came without ceremony or final confession. For many of the victims' families, it brought a mix of emotions: relief that he could never harm again, and frustration that they would never get full justice through the courts. His death closed the chapter, but not the wounds. The case of Billy Chemirmir exposed not just one man's evil, but also the flaws in a system meant to protect the most vulnerable. Many of his victims lived in retirement communities or received in-home care, yet no one connected the pattern for years. His story has triggered legislative changes and investigations into elder safety protocols across Texas and the U.S. Families of victims have filed lawsuits demanding accountability and reform in senior living facilities. More importantly, it reminded the world that serial killers don't always fit a mold. They aren't always the shadowy figures in alleyways. Sometimes they smile, wear scrubs, and walk right through the front door.
Do I have to worry about someone wanting to kill me when I get up in age and need a caregiver? What is the world coming to? All I know is all the crimes that Billy Chemirmir committed, well, it will hunt dozens of families forever. I mean, he preyed on the kindest and the quietest generation, and nearly got away with it. That is ridiculous. Tell me your thoughts. Leave a comment. Tell me what you think. Okay? Please subscribe, subscribe, subscribe. I am trying to get to 1,000 subscribers and I still have a long ways to go. And give me thumbs up. Let me know that you really liked the video that you're watching and you would like to see more of these videos. And like I said, subscribe so that you will be aware and know when I'm posting my new videos. I post every Sunday a new video. And guys, thank you so much for joining me this evening. I love you all so, so much. I am so grateful and so thankful for you all subscribing. My regular subscribers, thank you, thank you, thank you. And new subscriber, please subscribe. If you are a new subscriber, thank you for subscribing. Thank you for hitting that subscribe bell below. And I will keep bringing these videos to you. And so I will see you soon, guys. You take care. See you next Sunday. Bye for now.